Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and this is one that's not getting a lot of coverage. In fact, I hadn't even heard of it 11 days after the publication in Oregon until someone tweeted about it and basically asked, why is this not getting coverage? We have a Portland Imam having his naturalization, his citizenship, revoked. And it shows here Mohammed Sheikh Abdirahman Khairi, former Imam of Portland's largest mosque, arrived in Somaliland this weekend, and the U.S. has revoked his citizenship. The government had arranged for Khairi, who is on the government's no-fly list, to travel back to his homeland after reaching a settlement agreement with him in January. That's 5 months before this article was even written. Now, of course, it goes on to talk about it. Very simply, he was flying home. He's on the no-fly list, so of course the government has to come to a very strict agreement to let him get on a plane leaving our country. Now, the problem arises, at least according to his lawyers, when he gets to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and UAE officials decide they're going to question him. According to his lawyers, he was not allowed to call them, which is not anything we can affect. And his stuff was seized. We didn't do it. Now, of course, they're making the argument that the only possible way, there is no other circumstance under the sun that would cause UAE officials to question the former imam of a mosque where terrorists, Al-Qaeda supporters, who had tried to join Al-Qaeda to fight U.S. and coalition forces in the Middle East, there's no possible way they would have even looked at him. It had to be a U.S. government official calling him and saying, hey, watch this guy. It's very simple that, of course, these people are idiots for claiming this. This man was the imam of a mosque where I believe it is the Portland 7 is what they were called. I'm not 100% sure. But these are people in the U.S. who had tried to ally with Al-Qaeda to fight U.S. and coalition forces. So basically you have terror supporters trying to join up with a group fighting against the U.S. and our allies in the Middle East. They attended his mosque. He was the imam of that mosque. I'm sorry, any government on the planet that is a member of the coalition would probably know who those 7 people were, and they would look up, where did they attend services? Who was the leader of that congregation? We might want to have a talk with him. And it all comes down to basically the lawyers demanding their way. You can see here that Khairi agreed not to challenge this order because he lied to U.S. officials when applying for naturalization. It's very simple. In 1993, he was arrested. He concealed that fact and lied about it when he applied for naturalization. We now know about it, although this is 22 years after he applied for citizenship, and his citizenship is being revoked. He had a matter of days after arriving in Somaliland to return his passport. It's a cut and dry case. It honestly is. But this is normal procedure for what I call ambulance chaser lawyers. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is the government is the bad guy. Everything is. Whoever is on the other side of this aisle, whoever's at that other table, they are the most evil, horrible thing on the planet, and I have to get my way. And I've seen it from defense and from prosecutorial arguments. In this case, the lawyers are arguing that because UAE officials decided to question him, and because the UAE didn't let him call his lawyers, and because the UAE searched his belongings, it's the U.S. government's fault. And that's a stupid argument. Honestly, it is. And this is an example to me of a clear move by the media to censor what we hear about, what we read about, what we think. They don't like the Trump administration. There are quite a few people in all organizations that are media that don't like Donald Trump. They don't like the fact that in 2016 they ran with Hillary Clinton 95+% to win, and she lost. They don't like the fact that he wouldn't just concede. They don't like the fact that he's not bowing to the Democrats in the House. So everything is a horrible thing that is ultimately all traced back to Donald J. Trump. I'm honestly surprised we don't have a report in this story of one of the lawyers just with an outrage, "He's lying, Your Honor," when the U.S. attorney, speaking to the judge by phone, says no. No one in the government contacted the United Arab Emirates in any way regarding this or any aspect of this case. It is almost becoming just the true circus, the Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, "I want the truth" scene, where lawyers are just unable to accept the fact that the United States government has no control over the UAE. That when a lawyer says, "No, we did not contact them at all about anything," they won't accept it. They wanted, and this is pure politicking, it's useless, they wanted this entire thing, settlement agreement, thrown out. They wanted Kyrie allowed to renounce his citizenship, which, if I remember reading right, and it's been several years, means he could reapply at a later time. The specific thing I looked at was dual citizenship, where at 18, or maybe a later age, but at a certain time, a dual citizen must either choose to become an American citizen only or to renounce their U.S. citizenship. If they renounce, they return their U.S. passport. It's very simple. They can later apply to be naturalized and return. If your citizenship is revoked, you can never apply at all. And that's what the lawyers are pushing for. They know the government is going to say, "Oh, this is an application from, oh, he lied on his application the last time. Application denied." But if they get it to where he's allowed to reapply, they can then argue in court that whole settlement was thrown out, so all of that is invalid. You have to let him come back now. He's on the flippin' no-fly list. I don't see how any attorney worth their salt would argue that someone on the no-fly list, this is a terror watch list, should be allowed to have their entire way handed to them. But this is ambulance chaser logic. Very simply, this is, I'm right, you're wrong. If you say anything else, you're an evil person and you're denying my rights. It's very simple. There are no Miranda rights in the UAE. There is no constitution, U.S. Constitution in the UAE. It's honestly somewhere I don't know that I will ever visit, because from everything I've heard about virtually every Middle Eastern country save Israel, is that if they decide they're going to question you, you could vanish into the black hole of Calcutta for the rest of your life, because they never have to let you go. And honestly, the UAE probably decided, we're just going to take this as get him out of our country, and we're going to mark him as not allowed back. And the lawyers honestly should have just left this alone, because now they're on record as being the 2-year-old child. But, Mom, it had to be him. They're the toddler squealing in outrage that they're not believed without any proof. And it's almost funny, almost. But I've talked enough about this. What are your thoughts on the lawyers, on Kyrie having his citizenship revoked, on the entire incident, really? Remember, though, when you comment below, keep it civil. We don't learn from argument, we learn from debate. Please also remember to like and share this video, as well as to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you are kept abreast of all new content as it is posted. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.